In the crowded streets of Lagos, people often noticed the man. His name was Michael, and in his hands, he always carried a small, folded photograph, edges torn, the colors faded, creases cutting through the smiling faces captured within. Strangers on buses or at roadside stalls sometimes gave him sympathetic smiles, assuming the picture was a harmless piece of sentiment. But no one ever asked why his eyes lingered so long on the image, or why his grip tightened as though it would vanish if he let go. The photograph showed Michael with his wife, Sarah, and their 2 children, Daniel and Grace, standing in front of a small amusement park. They had been laughing that day, cotton candy in sticky hands, the sun bright against their faces. To everyone else, it was just an old family keepsake. But for Michael, it was the only reminder that his family had once been real, living, and full of life. He carried it not for sentiment, but survival, because the truth was unbearable without it. It had been a rainy evening on the highway, years ago. Michael remembered the sound first, the screech of tires, the sudden shattering of glass, the deafening crash that swallowed every breath of laughter in the car. He had woken up in the wreckage, blood trickling down his forehead, unable to move at first. And then, the silence. Not the kind of silence that comforts, but the kind that breaks the human soul. His wife's hand, still clutching his, had gone cold. His children's cries never came. The rescue workers pulled him from the mangled vehicle, his body broken but alive. People called it a miracle, but Michael had never seen it that way. They had buried Sarah, Daniel, and Grace days later, the air heavy with the smell of wet soil and tears. From that day on, he carried the picture, the same one that had been in his wallet during the crash. To him, it wasn't a miracle he survived. It was punishment. Years passed, but Michael never found peace. He worked odd jobs across Lagos, sometimes carrying cement bags at a construction site, sometimes cleaning offices at night. Wherever he went, the photograph stayed with him, pressed close to his heart. People whispered about him, some saying he was a lonely widower who refused to move on, others dismissing him as a man drowning in nostalgia. Nobody knew that each glance at the photo was a battle against despair. On the hardest nights, when sleep refused him and the city's noise could not drown the emptiness, he would unfold the torn picture and whisper his apologies to the faces smiling back at him. He told Daniel he was sorry he never got to see him grow tall. He told Grace he still remembered the song she hummed before bed. And to Sarah, he confessed the guilt he carried, wishing it had been him instead. The photograph was not just a memory, it was his tether to life, the only reason he hadn't given himself to the dark. One evening, while riding a crowded yellow bus along I-Corridor Road, the photograph slipped from Michael's hand. A young woman picked it up, studied it for a moment, and returned it with a kind smile. "Beautiful family," she said warmly. Michael forced a nod, his throat tightening. He wanted to explain, to tell her that the picture was all he had left of the people in it. But the words stayed locked inside. It was easier to let strangers believe it was just sentiment than to open the flood of pain he carried. Yet moments like that planted something fragile in him. The kindness of strangers, the soft glances, the casual words, reminded him that life still moved, even if his own felt frozen. Sometimes, at the mosque or on the street, someone would ask about his children, and he would simply smile without answering. He never lied, but he also never revealed. The truth was his alone, and the photo was the shield keeping him from shattering. One late night, Michael walked along the bridge at Third Mainland, the vast waters below swallowing the city's noise. His fingers shook as he unfolded the photograph once again. The paper was thin now, the corners crumbling, but the faces still smiled back at him, Sarah, Daniel, and Grace, forever frozen in a world that no longer existed. His chest ached as he traced their outlines, whispering their names into the wind. The night air was heavy, and for the first time, he felt the crushing weight of how long he had carried his grief alone. Tears blurred his sight, and his legs gave way as he sank to the cold concrete. "I should have gone with you," he whispered, clutching the photo so tightly that it nearly tore apart in his hands. The city lights flickered on the water, but he saw only the faces of the family he had lost. For hours, he wept, loud, broken sobs that no stranger stopped to hear. And when the dawn finally broke, Michael pressed the photo to his heart, kissed it one last time, and laid it gently on the ground beside him. His body was found still holding it, his face streaked with dried tears, and the torn picture became the last proof of a love too deep for this world.